Do you ever struggle with like what to do every day? Or you get caught in the scroll hole? You look at your time spent on social media and it's like hours and hours and hours every single week. And you're like, what am I doing? What am I actually doing to move my business forward? What is John doing differently? What's Coach Fryer doing that's different? What are these other top earners doing? Because I'm not getting attention. I'm not generating leads, followers, sales. I'm wasting time, and I feel like there's got to be a better way for me to be more efficient, more effective, create better results. If that's you, this is the conversation for you. And I promise you, we will keep it generic. So it does not matter which company you represent, what products you're selling. It will be valuable for anyone and everyone that wants to leverage social media to generate leads and build an online business. Okay. And if you don't know, Coach Fryer is a mentor, a leader. He's gone out there and retired from network marketing. So he's not associated or aligned with any company. He just does training, coaching, speaking. And we were just in Bora Bora having an absolute blast. Brian did this awesome training, and I thought it was really helpful because he gave you structure of how to leverage Facebook, how to leverage social media and be more efficient, more effective, and more intentional with the time that you have. So, Brian, what's up, brother? Excited to have you on today.
Such an easy conversation anytime you and I get together. So I'm honored to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's so many people right now that they want to get better, right? Top earners are just better at the basics, right? They've mastered the mundane. They know how to show up on social. They know how to have conversations. And, the thing that's tough about social media is there's so many opinions and there's so many platforms and there's so many strategies within each platform. So again, I love how you simplify things and you're always testing and tweaking yourself for your own brand, your own business. But then at the same time, you're coaching and mentoring leaders in various companies. So you get to see what's working best. So really excited for them to hear about GNC and some of the different, tactics and strategies. And I think it's going to be really helpful for those of you that you're just like, listen, I need to do a better job. I need to do a better job being intentional, not, wasting time in the scroll hole and knowing exactly how to show up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
I'm all about simplification, taking things that are confusing to you, overwhelming, got you just like spending 8 hours a day on social media, not getting any results. I want to simplify everything for you. As John shared, I want to just touch a little bit on something I created about a year and a half ago, John. And actually, the last 3 keynotes I've done for big companies, I actually shared this strategy. People are blowing their ever-loving minds. And so we're going to give them the sneak peek of what this is about. So GNC, no, we're not talking about the vitamin supplement store. Some of you guys are like, oh yeah, I go to GNC. I get my pre-workout there. Or I get this there. Stands for growth, nurture, and conversion. So let's start with the G, right? I feel, John, that this formula is going to stand the test of time. It's going to stand the test of time no matter what additions come to social media, no matter how much bigger it gets, whatever. And here's why I believe this, because you're always going to need to have a growth strategy, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on TikTok, whatever it is, you need to find ways to grow, get in front of new people, new eyeballs, new friends, new followers, okay? My question for all those tuning in, what is your platform of choice right now? That's question number 1. And question number 2, what is your personal growth strategy on that platform? John, I ask a lot of people this. Most people don't have one. I want to give you guys just a few ideas, okay, no matter which platform you're on, as far as what I'm seeing, okay? Now, here's the beauty of this. You don't have to do all these things. I'm giving you permission to not have to do 37 different things. Focus on what avenue you feel most confident in. Let's talk about a few ideas, okay? Some of the best growth strategies on Facebook right now. Number 1, obviously Reels, right? You want to talk about a growth strategy, getting in front of new eyeballs. Very, very powerful. So obviously Facebook Reels, super powerful. Facebook groups is in my opinion, John, is probably the most overlooked strategy on Facebook that you can literally have 0 friends, 0 followers, go implement a Facebook group strategy. We'll touch on it in just a second. And literally get in front of new people every single day very, very quickly. The third on Facebook is doing interviews, John, just like this. Why is this such a powerful growth strategy? We believe collaboration is greater than competition. This is a perfect storm, right? My audience is getting notified that I'm live with John. So I'm being exposed to John's audience. And then now I'm sharing this in my groups, on my wall, and everyone's getting exposed to John. It's a perfect collaboration. Last but not least, our posts. John, you shared in Bora Bora, you've got like just a library full of content, man. Some of your best quotes, some of your best sayings, right, that you just repurpose over the years. Mm-hmm. Why reinvent the wheel? You've got 35, 50, 100 different, posts that you're repurposing every 3, 6, 9, 12 months that are getting 10, 20, 50, 100 shares, lots of comments.
Facebook is still today the biggest, baddest, most amazing platform for those of us that are in network marketing, direct sales, MLM, whatever, social retail, right? Like it still is the King Kong. And right, Instagram's a good one too. I think Instagram's, but still Facebook, it's got the groups, it's got Facebook Live, it's got, you could do group chats and ATM and all the things. Like Facebook is still, in my opinion, especially now that it has reels and stories, right? It has everything you need to grow your following. And then on the back end, it's so easy to connect with people. It's not easy to connect with, a new subscriber on YouTube. It's not easy to connect with someone on TikTok. It's so easy to connect with people on Facebook. Sure, there's Facebook jail, and I know there's some issues with Facebook. There are no perfect platforms, but still to me, 100%, I agree with everything you said. It's the King Kong. Groups.
Just because most people, John, they're like, okay, I started my own group, and I'm like, no, that's not what we're talking about here. And they're like, oh, okay, I know what you're going to talk about. Join interest groups. Got it. Yeah. I do lots of that. But here's the issue, John. You and I both know most people who are watching this video today, they're in too many groups to count. And here's the bad news. They are just another number inside these groups because, I always go back to this, they are choosing to consume rather than contribute. I'm going to share the quick story, John, that I shared in Bora Bora with your folks here today. I shared it simply like this. Imagine going to your next big corporate function, right? Your next big corporate event, right? Imagine 5,000, 10,000 people in the big arena, whatever it is. If you go to your next corporate function, there's 10,000 people in the room, you sit your butt down in the back row. How many people are going to know who you are? Nobody. Why do I say this? Because that was me like 13 years ago, right? I was that person, 10,000 people back in the room. Nobody knew who I was. Okay. The flip side, fast forward a couple of years. Next thing you know, I'm on the stage speaking in front of the 10,000 people in that arena. Guess who knew me at that point? Guess who would know you? If you were up on that stage, given the microphone, every single person in that room would now know who you are. So I use that analogy with Facebook groups. There are those who are just consuming and those who are contributing. So you might be in an interest group, but if you don't have an actual plan to contribute, to get exposure, awareness, visibility, eyeballs, establish some credibility, it's worthless. I encourage making a couple of posts in there every single week. Okay. If I was you guys, maybe like on a Tuesday, I would suggest, hey, make a value-driven post. Let's say you're in a gardening group, right? John likes to garden, right? John, you like to garden.
Love it.
Loves gardening, right? So every Tuesday, John's going to go in that group and he's going to share a value-driven tip, story, knowledge, something, right, about gardening. Very, very simple. And then every Thursday, he's going to go in there and just ask a simple question, right? Hey, like what gardening shovel do you recommend? What fertilizer do you recommend? We want to grow XYZ vegetables. What do you recommend, right? Simple, right? Why is this important, John? Little pop quiz, see if you remember. Why should we post questions on a Thursday?
No, it was great. I love it because if you ask a question on a Thursday, it'll most likely last throughout the entire weekend. You'll be at the top of the feed in that group because a lot of people aren't posting in the group. So, and people keep answering and it keeps popping back up. It's so smart. I love it.
It's crazy. It's gangster. It's like, it doesn't matter how many people are in the group. What you want is a group that's interactive. There's already people talking. There's conversations. Typically, a lot of you right now are in a group of let's say you're in a group of 5,000 people. You could probably count on one hand the people who actually are posting in there. So if there's 5 people posting in a 5,000 person group, you just became the 6th. I mean, you want to talk about like visibility. Hello, super powerful, right?
And everybody wants to give their opinion. And the cool thing too is I want to point this out too. Facebook wants to grow groups. Like they want to grow these online communities, and whatever the platform is pushing and they're wanting the users, the members to do, you should do that. So Facebook groups, and again, you said it's so overlooked because a lot of us over the last 6-7 years, we've been on Facebook, maybe longer. We joined a bunch of groups, and like, if you scroll through your groups, you're gonna be like, dude, I forgot I was even in these groups. I see nothing from those groups. And some of them have thousands and thousands and thousands of people that would absolutely buy your products and join your team. But No one in there knows you exist. You're doing nothing. You're not contributing. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, John. I actually asked a couple of leaders that were in that room after I broke this strategy down. I said, I looked them point blank in the face and said, how long would it take you to create a simple post on a Tuesday, a simple question, and then go interact in the group, 10 minutes on Monday, 10 minutes Wednesday, 10 minutes Friday. They're like, oh my gosh, less than 30 minutes a week in one group.
It really does take very little time to interact and engage. And the one thing you said in Bora Bora that I think will be helpful for people, just choose like 1 or 2 groups. You don't need to join 5, 10, 15, 20 groups. Like if you join a Disney group with 30,000 people, like you don't really need to be in 6, 7, 8 other Disney groups. You could just crush it in that one community, that one group. Now, people will then say, well, what does Disney have to do with my products or opportunity? The point is you're connecting with like-minded people. Maybe you're not into Disney. This is only for those of you that are obsessed with Disney. And I know there's some of you in here that are like that. Maybe you're obsessed with hiking. Maybe you're obsessed with like you love your Peloton. I don't know. Maybe you're obsessed with real estate. The point is figuring out what are you passionate about? What are you excited about? What could you talk about all day long? Join a couple groups, 1 or 2 groups, and have that plan that Brian talked about. And I promise you, you will have a whole new network of people in 3 to 6 months.
I'll wrap up the second part to the G real quick, you guys. We talked Facebook real quick, Instagram, the 2 fastest ways, as far as growth on Instagram. In my opinion, of course, Reels and interviews, again, are super powerful. Instagram is cool too, John. You know this because if you and I did an Instagram live, I go live, you jump on my live, all of your followers, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 followers would get notified. All it says is John Melton is now live, and they're automatically taken to my live, right? So if I'm adding value, you're adding value, they see the both of us adding value, it's like a great cross-pollination. So
collaborating is such a big deal. I love that. It's so smart.
Let's talk about the N real quick. The N stands for nurture. So whether you're using Facebook, or TikTok or Instagram, you now have decided, hey, I need to figure out which growth strategy I want, okay? Next is the nurturing strategy, okay? A couple of the best nurturing strategies are live videos, of course. John, you and I would probably both agree that 5 years ago, Facebook Lives were in the growth category, right? You and I would do lives, do tens of thousands of views. Now we get hundreds, maybe a couple thousand at most. Yeah. So, but I think this is a perfect example of why GNC will stand the test of time, right? So even though lives are still amazing, they're still, in my opinion, have to do them, encourage you to do them. I think they've just shifted a little bit more for me to the nurturing. So all these new friends and followers that you're gathering, going live a couple times a week, John, 3, 4, 5 times a week, right? It's a way for you to now continue to nurture and warm them up. Second is in your stories. Stories, freaking ridiculous. I know you guys leverage your stories. I feel that 99% of marketers aren't leveraging their stories the way they should. This is an opportunity, an incredible opportunity. And I don't know if you've noticed this, John, but a lot of people who comment on my public post or videos, it's a whole different crowd that view my stories. Have you seen something similar?
You always got to think about your own behavior. There's a lot of people, I watch their stories, I see none of their posts. Their stories pop up all the time. I can't remember last time I saw their posts, so that really is a great point. And I think, again, people, because it's not a new shiny thing, people are starting to just like not pay as much attention to it. And they just post random things in their stories. You need to take it very seriously because you said something and you said it, but I think some people didn't catch it because it really is such a good point. It's a nurturing feature. Who cares if you get a bunch of new followers if they never see any of your stuff? They never see your Facebook lives or your posts or your interviews or your stories. So I think it's so important. And you got to sometimes play with the story stuff because, again, Facebook, Instagram, they put these little features in there for a reason. They want you to use the features, the polls, the questions, the filters, all the different things. So play with it, be intentional with it. And again, it doesn't have to take a lot of time. You want people responding to your stories. This is why we do polls. This is why we ask questions. This is why we post things that are funny or controversial, because you get people fired up or you get them laughing or you get them like, I want responses. I don't want views. Views don't make me money. Responses are amazing. And it's a great way to, again, nurture those relationships.
Last part of the GNC is the C. It stands for conversion, right? The money is in Messenger. John, I think I got that from you many, many years ago. When it comes to the conversion, point to your strength. John and I, for example, we love Messenger. We just crush the DMs. So Messenger is our happy place. We feel that if you put us in Messenger, right, John, with like 10 people, we're probably closing 7, 8, maybe 9 of them. Like that's just our wheelhouse. Some of you watching this, some of you prefer the phone. That's fine. Some of you prefer a quick FaceTime. That's fine. Some of you prefer to set an appointment, get on a Zoom with someone. That's fine. If they're local to you, some of you prefer go meet them for coffee. That's fine. But you have to choose your point, your point of strength, right? So I always say you're creating visibility, awareness, growing your friends and followers with a growth strategy. You're then nurturing those folks, generating prospects and leads. Then you're going to convert them with your strength. John, thoughts?
You nailed it. I mean, sales is conversations. You are a professional conversation starter, and whoever has the most conversations wins. That's it. If you're not connecting with followers, friend requests, old friends, new friends, old followers, people watching your stories, commenting, liking, people are like, should I message someone that likes my stuff? Like, you should message people that don't like your stuff. You should. Why would I be friends with someone, connected to someone? Why would I? What am I? I'm not allowed to talk to them? That makes no sense. What is the point of getting new followers, new friends, if I'm not going to talk to the ones I'm already connected with? So if they're liking, commenting, absolutely. If they're watching your stories, absolutely. And by the way, that doesn't mean you're like, hey, Sarah, I saw you watching my stories. You trying to make some money or what? That's not. No. It just means you're going to connect. You're going to reach out. Maybe they're loving on your posts. Maybe they're watching your stories and you make a comment about that. Hey, I appreciate the support. How are you? How's the family? What are you focused on these days? You know, sometimes they'll bring up your business. Sometimes they'll bring up the product. Sometimes you have to be proactive in popping the question. But to put out content and then not connect with people, not to, have those conversations, like you're really missing the boat. And again, sales is conversations. Whoever has the most conversations wins. Like you said, Brian, you're nurturing those relationships and then you're converting some of those people into customers, into business conversations. You're ATMing your face off. You're putting them in group chats with your upline. Maybe you're hopping on a call. Maybe you're hopping on a Zoom, but you got to be proactive and stand out. You can't just look what was working 2 years ago, posting your sales videos, right? You get 5,000 comments, 5,000 leads, people raising their hand, want more information. It just doesn't work anymore. And I knew when it was happening and I kept saying it. As much as I loved it, I was like, this won't last. It never does. It's really having those one-on-one conversations. That's where the money is made.